Okay, welcome back to We Are Breathers Part 2 on myself, Nicholas Matthews. In this one, I talk about my time going from Kirkwood Intermediate, to all the way through high school, and then touching on my work life, and then moving to Perth to live with my sister, and essentially the reasons why I moved back as well. So yeah, first and foremost, thank you for watching the first part if you did. But yeah, part two. Thanks. Went from Burnham Primary School to Riccarton Primary School, then went to Kirkwood Intermediate, and I like to say that's really where I took that first jump into like maturing as a kid. I think because my brother and sister went there, and me being the youngest, I got away with a fair bit, and me being 2 years younger than my brother, I just sort of, I relished in the fact that all the year eights at that time knew who I was purely because of my brother, and later on in life I would, sort of not like that. I sort of grew out of that. So Kirkwood was cool. My teachers, Mr. Norgate and Aiken. Mr. Norgate and Mr. Aiken. Those two teachers there were a big part in moulding me, a young me into someone that was going to take on some other, other tasks in life or whatever. But those two teachers played a big part in moulding me a wee bit. After my 2 years at Kirkwood, I moved on to Riccarton High School. Good 5 years of that at high school. Played a wee bit of volleyball. Really enjoyed it. Came out of high school having really no drive to do anything. Pretty much, my first official job was when I was 18, and that was because I didn't want to go to uni. I knew that for sure. There was really no reason why I didn't want to go to uni. Looking back now, I'm happy that I didn't go to uni or polytech or a tertiary study, just because I'm 18. The year before I had to ask to go to the toilet, and now I can make a decision on on what I wanted to study, but also that what came along with what I wanted to study was a huge amount of debt. As an 18-year-old, I didn't know that. I was just too lazy to go out and see what I wanted to do. So what I did was I worked. I learnt the value of money. I worked at Pack and Save for, I think, 6 months. It was what it was. It is what it is. Either way you want to say that, it works. Moved on to being a bartender at a place called the Town Ball, and I went from a glassy to a bartender pretty quick, and then essentially got my own outdoor bar that I was running, and slightly enjoyed that, but then also there was gave me an insight on how hospo life is, and how how drunk people, when you're serving drunk people, I don't think they don't realize that you're sober and you can see everything. It really opens your eyes. And like, after I quit that, I didn't drink for a good 2 months, just purely because I didn't like drunk people. They just put a bad taste in my mouth, and it was just like, I don't really want to be. I don't want to be one of those people, So after that, worked at Foodstuffs. Not too much to go on about Foodstuffs. It was a pick-pack situation. Nothing too glamorous. After that, so I was 20 when I worked at Foodstuffs. I turned 21, and I thought, what, the world's my oyster. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna move to Australia with the hopes of, traveling more from there. So I moved to Perth. Moved to Perth for 8 months. Little did I know before I went over there, it was going to be tough. moved there, and I lived with my older sister Tisha and her two nephews and her partner at the time. And like I said, it was 8 months, and it was a super tough time for me. I went there with the mindset of I didn't need to make friends because I've got heaps at home. And to me, looking back, that was the most idiotic mindset ever. Like, I just didn't I gave things a chance, but it wasn't like I'm really going to go out here and make friends. It was like, why? Why do I need to make friends? I've got heaps at home. I don't need to prove that I, am a cool guy because all these guys are not back home. So a wee bit arrogant, ignorant, and just young, I was still 21. Like, I'm 25 now. Obviously, I know that I'm still young, but 21, I thought I was a man. I thought I knew what to do, Essentially, I didn't. I started working, try to get work in like the mines. I wanted to, earn a wee bit of coin. It didn't pan out that way. I worked at Subway. I pretty much took whatever I could do, but I killed it. Honestly, I killed Subway. I wouldn't say I loved it, but like the people I met through there, super cool. But I think the success rate of me actually living in Perth from the start wasn't really that high because there was just no planning around it. I just decided I knew that I more or less had a bed with my sister there. And I was like, oh, you know what? If that's there, why not go there and see how this goes? Which is, it's always good to have that situation where it's like, free of com. Obviously free of com up to a point where I got a job and started paying for everything. But I've got a bed there, so why not see where this goes and explore that? Long story short, came back for my best mate Mitchell Telner's 21st birthday, and seen like a week before that I just saved up enough money to buy like a decent car in Australia, and then my best mate said, "Oh bro, I'm thinking about having a 21st on these dates. Do you reckon you can come back?" And as soon as I got that text, I booked flights back. I booked flights back to New Zealand for those dates, but then I told him, "Nah, bro, I can't. I've got, don't have enough cash, or I can't make it." Knowing full and well that I knew that I was going, and I was amped about it. I was happy to see him, all my other friends, but also for it to be like a massive surprise that I was coming back. And so that's why I had my first visit back to New Zealand, and the only person I knew that I was coming back was my brother at the start, Josh, and then Mitchell. He was wanting to change the dates, and he was letting me. This was maybe a month after he told me. He's like, "Oh, bro, what about these dates? Do these dates work with you?" And I was like, "Oh, no, you can't." It was like a week before. I was like, "Bro, you can't change them, bro. I'm actually coming." I was trying to make it a surprise, and so I had to tell him. He kept the dates, which was awesome. But then I got to pretty much focus on making the surprise about seeing my parents. Okay, so that was the end of part 2 of We Are Breathers on myself, Nicholas Matthews. And hopefully you enjoyed that. Part 3 soon to follow. But if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. Thanks.